most anticipated book in my TBR. The book that I am most excited about, the reason why I got more into classics. And today is August 1. I feel this is the right time to start War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. And what's even more nice is I will be body reading this with a small group of classic book readers. And yes, I will be reading War and Peace. I am starting it today. I have the Vintage Classics Russian Series Edition of War and Peace, which is published for the 100-year anniversary of, 1917 Russian Revolution. This is the prettiest book I own. I got this from Finn Books, if you're familiar with them. It arrived 1 month, or around 1 month, more than 1 month I guess, since I ordered it. It's been here actually for months already, but I haven't got the guts, the courage, the mood to finally start reading this. But one of the members from the Classic Book Club that I just recently joined picked this up for a body read on top of the BOTM that they have. So we created another sub-chat group for the War and Peace body read. We will be reading this together. They have started it na, but I haven't got it yet. But yeah, today is the day. Tolstoy conjures a broad panorama of rich, messy, beautiful, and debased human life. We follow the fates of open-hearted, impulsive Pierre Bezukov, his melancholy friend Prince Andrei, and the enchanted Natasha Rostova, as history and fiction are combined in one of the wisest and most enthralling novels ever written. I haven't read the introduction yet, so I will be starting there. We have 4 parts, 4 volumes for this edition. We have 3 parts for volume 1, 5 parts for volume 2, 3 parts for volume 3, and 4 parts for volume 4, and 2 parts for the epilogue. It has how many pages? In total, 1,274, including the epilogue. It's the introduction, which has how many pages? 20 pages for introduction, including the list of characters, main characters, if I may say. Yeah, principal characters. So it's easy na for us to identify which characters, because I heard it has 500 to 600 characters in total dito sa book. But we already have the list of the principal characters here, so it's not very much. So it helps. It's a big help because I plan to tab each character, or at least the first introduction of each character. We will be reading this the first time. This is the first time that I will be diving into the Russian literature even. So, tama ba? Well, not the first time, but my first time with Tolstoy. And I'm not sure if this is the good book or the best book to start Tolstoy, but still, dito na tayo. Hi, it's the next day and I just got off from a meeting, but it's already outside office hours. Sobrang pawis ko, pero naka-jacket ako kasi this is the only pullover. Yeah, this is the only pullover, the cover that I have kasi again, I just had a meeting, tapos they're turning their cameras off, tapos nakasando lang ako. So anyways, ba't ko ba kinukwento? Yeah, so it's the next day. It's August 2. I don't know if I can still track the time or the dates in the next updates, but this is my first update for War and Peace. Okay, last night, I finished the introduction, and here's the famous quote from Isaac Babel. If the world could write by itself, it would write like Tolstoy. This introduction for this version is written by, I don't know how to properly pronounce the name, but this is the introduction from the translator Richard Pevier. And I'd like to quote, "War and Peace is the most famous and at the same time the most daunting of Russian novels. As fast as Russia itself and as long to cross from one end to other. Yet, if one makes the journey, the sights seen and the people met on the way mark one's life for forever." Most parts of the introduction discussed the works of Tolstoy and how he was inspired to make or to create this masterpieces. How his personal experiences inspired his arts. There are also a bunch of references that also interest me, so another pile for my TBR. There's also 1, 2, 3 paragraphs highlighted here, which is quoted from a autobiography of Pasternak. All his life, at every moment, he possessed the faculty of seeing phenomena in the detached finality of each separate instant, in perfectly distinct outline, as we see on rare occasions in childhood or on the crest of an all-renewing happiness or in the triumph of a great spiritual victory. To see things like that, our eye must be directed by passion, for it is passion that by its flash illuminates an object, intensifying its appearance. There's also one part here that discusses the War and Peace objective. There's a part here that I actually starred. The first readers of War and Peace were certainly surprised but often also bewildered and even dismayed by the book. They found it hard to identify the main characters, to discover anything like a plot, to see any connection between episodes, to understand the sudden leaps from fiction to history, from narration to philosophizing. There seemed to be no focus, no artistic unity to the work, no real beginning and no resolution. It was as if the sheer mass of detail overwhelmed any design Tolstoy might have tried to impose on it. Because this is true, and also, I also have a note here. This is basically the reason why I love books with no plots, and also this is the reason why I love 100 Years of Solitude so much. There are a lot of parts of the books, or these kinds of books, that are very interesting to interpret personally, and also there are a lot of references in real life history, which does not just give you the entertainment of reading the story, but also the access or an access to actually inform yourself or educate yourself about the history in real life. Another cause of surprise for its first readers was the language of War and Peace. The book opens in French, not with a few words of French, as in a whole paragraph of French. This edition is actually very much helpful when it comes to translations of the French or other foreign languages, if there may be other languages, if ever. But there are footnotes here where the translators actually translates other dialogues in from foreign language. So far, I'm 2 pages through the part 1, and so far it's modern English, and it's not very much heavy to understand. Here, meron pala akong note so gusto kong i-share. Quoting from a few words apropos of the book War and Peace, published in the magazine Russian Archive in 1868, which is also part of this one, the archive of this book. Which is funny enough, before I started this, I watched the TED Ed YouTube video on why you should read War and Peace, and this is also quoted in that video. So this is already familiar to me when I read it. I will link below the TED Ed video if you're interested, but it is not a novel, still less an epic poem, still less a historical chronicle. War and Peace is what the author wanted and was able to express in the form in which it is expressed. Also quoting from Piver, again, Tolstoy was trying, and this hits the spot. Tolstoy was trying to express something which to his mind had never been expressed before, and which therefore required a new form that could only define itself as he worked. Spent 5 years of ceaseless and exclusive labor under the best conditions of life. That's between 1863 and 1868. He dedicated his 5 years just to sculpt this beauty and to express something that to his mind had never been expressed before. Ang dami ko pang gustong i-share dito pero ang haba na. Ito last. This part of the introduction is now about the translation and the process, the belief of the translation of this edition. A translator who turns a great original into a patchwork of ready-made contemporary phrases with no regard for its particular tone, rhythm, or character, and claims that this is how Tolstoy would have written today in English, betrays both English and Tolstoy. Translation is not the transfer of the detachable meaning from one language to another, for the simple reason that in literature, there is no meaning detachable from the words that express it. Translation is a dialogue between two languages. It occurs in a space between two languages and most often between two historical moments. Meron din dito pala, shucks, I missed this, but there's one here that's very, very good. Quoted from Rachel Bespalov. Tolstoy universe, like Homer's, is what our own is from moment to moment. We don't step into it. We are there. Cause girl, this is the opposite of like we read fiction to escape reality. Reading Tolstoy and Homer as quoted here is a step to the reality, to the history na hindi parang chismis. I'm already at the second page of part 1, so I can't update you yet on this because I have very little notes pa. As much as possible, I want to react to this book, so expect spoilers, expect quotes, expect screenshots of quotes and annotations, so get ready to be spoiled. Just a quick update on my reading. War and Peace. I'm already 32 pages in, and by 32, I'm currently in volume 1, part 1, chapter 3. I'm 12 pages in to the novel, but if we include the introduction, I'm 32 pages in the book. And it's August 6th now. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm reading this book for 6 days already. And I'm still 12, barely 13 pages through the actual novel. And I'm taking too long. So, I'm gonna share my challenges. And maybe if you are also a first-time reader of War and Peace, you can get something out from these challenges, or maybe gawan ninyo ng paraan yung mga points na to, because that's what I will be doing in the next few days. So the past week is of course a work week, plus I am outside almost always, and this book, War and Peace, is definitely a bulky book. It's a thick book. So we all know it's too mahirap to bring this around, bring this anywhere. So, nadadala ko siya sa office, but when I'm at the office, I can't read more than 2 pages of it. Nakakabasa lang ako doon kapag nag-aantay na ako ng sundo. But, during my breaks, I try, yes, but I can't. I couldn't. Second, I'm having this first-time reader syndrome. I don't know if that exists. You know, when you are reading the book or the classic the first time and then you want to absorb everything, as in you don't want to miss anything. Yun yung nafe-feel ko when I am reading War and Peace. Kasi sabi ko, parang sayang naman if I miss anything. And you know what? That's okay. I know for myself that I will be reading this more than one time. Also, it's impossible naman na wala kang mamimiss sa kapal nito or sa dami ng pangyayari. This edition though is helpful for me because it has footnotes, it has translations from French to English, references, it has summaries of each character, summaries of each chapters. It's good. Imagine if there are, or if I have the older versions of this na wala ka at all clue which are, kasi I'm not French, I'm not Russian. I don't know what happened during the Russian Revolution or during the Napoleonic Wars. And I am also not a lit major, so hindi ako trained to, dissect classic books or even any book. So imagine if you have that edition na walang clue at all on how you identify what's happening. As a first-time reader of War and Peace, knowing that this is a malaman na book, I want to refer to everything. I don't want to miss anything. I know it's wrong. I know it's not it's ideal, pero it's not doable. Pero as much as possible, I want to. Kasi hindi ko naman din talaga kailangan, to be honest. But it's good to know. It's good to be informed. Kasi history yung nagiging problema ko. So yeah, just ko ba siya? Maybe. Yes. I'm not sure yet. I plan to take a rest from War and Peace at least for this weekend and go on with my 2 other books that I am currently reading. Yeah, that's what's happening to me and War and Peace. Another thing that also, I think, part of the first reader syndrome, kung meron man nun, is siguro at least for me, ang effect sa akin ng being a first-time reader is I want to annotate everything. Or at least I want to highlight it, I want to tab it. Dati kasi hindi ako talaga nagsusulat sa books. But now that I learned how to, communicate more physically with my book, sobrang dami kong annotations. Although hindi ako nagsusulat ng notes ko or ng thoughts ko on the book directly, I have the post-its kasi ang haba ko magsulat. And I think that kapag sinulat ko siya sa margins, ang liliit kasi ng margins. Pag sinulat ko sila sa margins, hindi magkakasya and magkakagulo-gulo sila when I read it again. Also, again, it takes time kapag ka nag-highlight ka, nag-notes ka. Kasi babalikan mo yung quote, babalikan mo yung reference. I also want to refer to the character definitions. Kasi I want to know why they reacted that way, how they thought about it, etc. Parang gusto ko siyang i-reflect lahat. it takes time to reflect, to highlight, take notes. Ending, 1 week na, hindi pa rin ako tapos sa volume 1 or even sa part 1. Ang dami pang ganap sa isang scene. Like, for example, nandun sila sa party and they are talking about something and they're referring to something that actually happened in real life, in our lives. So, syempre, gusto ko rin malaman kung ano nangyari yun. Dito kasi, when you are reading it, you know that that sentence, that paragraph, actually has a reference to kasi merong citation. And, mako-curious ako, like, for example, well, my prince, Genoa and Luca are now no more than possessions, estates of the Bonaparte family. O kung babasahin mo siya, that line as is, parang wala lang. Okay, yun na yung parang description sa kanila, hindi na sila anything beyond possessions or estates of Bonaparte family. But, makikita mo, mayroong citation. So, ako, na medyo curious cat, gusto kong tingnan ano ba yung citation na yan. And thankfully, meron naman talaga ditong references. Apparently, in 1797, after his first Italian campaign, Napoleon made Genoa into a Ligurian republic, which was annexed to France in 1805. Lucca was taken by the French in 1799 and in 1805 became the center of the princedom which Napoleon bestowed upon his sister, Marie Anne Elisa. Anna Pavlovna scornfully uses the Corsican form of Napoleon family name as others will later. He will also be referred to as Bonaparte and Bonapartius. So, may mga ganyang ganap. So, ako naman, gusto ko silang basahin lahat. Like, girl, you can't read everything. Ayan, so those are my challenges reading War and Peace. So, I've decided I'll take a rest, maybe a day or two, or the whole weekend from War and Peace, and read instead the books that I am currently body reading with a group. First book is Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov, which is another challenge because I know this is written in a way na, in a point of view of the pedophile, or tag na rin kasi siya as pedophile in some reviews. Although the story, or at least in his point of view, the relationship was two-way, there is some kind of admiration from our Lolita. However, Lolita was still too young, so hindi pa sila tugma ng definition of what kind of relationship or how the level of seriousness in a relationship. Getting into the mind of Humbert and, actually seeing or hearing the thoughts of this person, medyo disturbing siya to me. Although yes, the writing is immaculate. Some interpretations or some reviews, parang they think na they are using, or the author is using beautiful words and beautiful way of telling this taboo story, parang romanticizing this kinds of relationship. Kasi ang ganda din talaga ng pagkaka-describe, pagkakasulat. We loved each other with a premature love, marked by a fierceness that so often destroys adult lives. I was a strong lad and survived, but the poison was in the wound, and the wound remained ever open. And soon I found myself maturing amid a civilization which allows a man of 25 to court a girl of 16, but not a girl of 12. So, alam mo yung maganda yung pagkakasulat niya, but the context is like, I don't know how to react, parang ganyan. But you have to be in the mood and in the right mindset. You have the open mind while you are reading this. So, minsan, to be very, very honest, I'm not very much open sa mga ganitong contexts or point of views of people. But of course, I can understand every character. I want to understand every character. So, pinopause ko lang siya. And I'm taking my time to actually finish the book. I'm enjoying the writing style, but I am not very much enjoying what I am reading, if you get what I mean. Another book that I am reading is Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulak. And I am already 64% through. So, baka ito yung matapos ko agad this weekend. This is a horror book. Supposedly horror book. We follow Mallory Quinn. Tama ba yung pangalan? Yes, Mallory. So, we follow Mallory Quinn and she is an ex-addict. She's 19, 20 months sober. So, as she move along her life, syempre nagtatry siya to get back to, you know, normal living kasi kakagaling niya lang ng rehab. So, she got this job as a nanny. I don't know why. Is it a good parang entry level to getting back to your normal life? Like, being a nanny? Like, I know medyo judger siyang pakinggan, pero bata kasi yung kasama mo eh. I mean, anyways, that's the path ni Mallory. So, she became a nanny to this very unique kid, very talented, smart kid named Teddy. And si Teddy, mahilig siya mag-drawing. Medyo creepy because these kids have tendency to draw pictures or to draw art na medyo hindi siya tugma sa ating expectations or hindi siya tugma sa real life. One day, na-discover ni ating Mallory, na itong si Teddy nagdo-drawing ng mga mumu sa pictures. Like, for example, we're talking to each other and then may mumu pala dito sa tabi ko. Ganun. So, na-discover niya na yung bahay na tinitirahan nila, yung vicinity na yon, may history of murder. So, syempre, itong sa ating girl, naiisip niya na baka may mumu dito talaga. And medyo tight or parang bound na doon sa bata. So, dinidiscover niya yon. You know that story or you know that character na protagonist siya, main character siya. Pero siya yung pinaka-stupid character. So, she makes a series of stupid, silly actions that is, hindi mo rin masisi kasi kung hindi niya yung ginawa, wala kang babasahing nobela. Anyways, I'm 60% through. I'm positive that I will be finishing this. It's a very entertaining book aside from Mallory. Sobrang na-enjoy ko siya. It's a page turner. It's just that So yes, since I will be taking a break from Tolstoy, I will also end the vlog here muna and upload another or make another episode 2 for the Tolstoy Diaries, for War and Peace Diaries. Thank you for staying up to here and I'll see you on my next one, on episode 2 or the next vlogs kung ano mang mauna.
I'll give you ukulele lessons Monday mornings if you're free. We can go to wherever we like, there's so much out there to see.